Good evening, my name is Garrett, and welcome to The Last Call. Tonight's final drink is Good Old Times. This is their single barrel-proof straight bourbon whiskey, finished in ex-bourbon and ex-rare bourbon casks, coming in at a 56% ABV, at least 9 years old. So for full disclosure, Good Times sent this sample over for us to take a look at and a review, so just keeping that transparency open. So Good Times is actually based out of Kentucky, where they are typically sourcing from MGP, keeping things single barrel proof a lot of times, and doing some really unique finishings. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you drink or how you drink it, as long as you enjoy it. And I think sourcing from MGP is great because they make great whiskey. Now, this sounds really interesting. So essentially what we know is they're taking 9-year-old single barrel proof MGP bourbon, finishing it in a honey barrel, and then turning around and finishing it in a rare ex-bourbon cask. Now, they can't disclose exactly who they're getting that cask from, and that's under an NDA, because there are places that do that. But if you look at the label that I've got over here, there might be some clues on maybe where it's coming from. But nonetheless, honey barrels are kind of interesting, especially during the fall, winter times, because you can get some really interesting flavors that play around with that barreling. And for me personally, I've had some really nice honey barrel finishes, and I've had others that don't quite hit the mark. Now, nonetheless, I've had some really good times with Good Times in their finishing, so I've got high hopes on this barreling. Let's get into it. Do love their labels. Fun, unique, keep it fun. Just have a good time doing things. So, as always, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hang around for a bit, become a member if you'd like. If you're interested in some other reviews over Good Times that I've done, links to those videos will be up above and down below, along with a link to their social media accounts, so you can go take a look at them, kind of learn about their releases, and see their process. The fact that they kept this one 9 years old, I'm excited about, because we should have some really good bourbon characteristics on there. And it's got a beautiful dark red hue to things. Wow. Now you can tell because of the finishing, again, single barrel cask strength, there is some, I'm going to call it like a haziness in there, which typically happens because it's non-chill filtered, A, but B, it's honey barrel finished. So you're going to get some of those particles from the honey on stuff like this. So let's go for notes. Oh, that's just a good bourbon at the end of the day. Oh, man. Hold up. That is rich, dark, oaky. Surprisingly, the honey notes are very subtle. Like, it's just got just a slight bit of a honey sweet characteristic in there. The ex-bourbon cask is really showcasing another darker layer to things because you're getting this kind of well-aged oak note. And again, it is 9 years old on its own, but the finishing on here is beautiful. Sweet vanilla cream. There is a slight, I'm going to say it's like a pepperiness going on in here. Beautiful creme brulee going on as well. And surprisingly, for barrel proof, doesn't come across too strong on the nose. There's nothing off. There's no bite to it or anything like that. But it honestly is just a really classic bourbon on the nose. A little butterscotch. You get that kind of a charry oak note kind of getting deeper in there, getting more of those wood sugars to the surface. But then you get that little bit of wispy honey going on too. Almost like, just like and this sounds so dumb, I know. But if you were to line a glass lightly with a little bit of honey before putting in like a drink, that would give you just a little bit of honey in there versus like a full washing of a honey. And that's kind of what comes across. But overall, like, that is just a very solid bourbon with a nice light honey sweetness. Nothing wrong with that. Let's go for a taste. Oh, yeah. There's the honey. Beautiful brown sugars right up front. Getting that honey sweet. A little bit of drizzle going on in there. The oaky profile is gorgeous. It's spicy. It's herbal. If I had to guess, there's probably some rye in the bourbon mash bill. So you're getting that kind of herbal floral note. And then you're getting this kind of rich, dark oakiness, almost close to like a true double oaked bourbon. Not quite there, but it's lighter than that. The honey sweetness is very subtle in here. It's just got this little bit going on. I've had some honey barrel finishes, again, that go really off the beaten path, and they go very heavy in that honey finishing. It's just very soft and subtle on things. Still doesn't drink like it's barrel proof. There's still no ABV, nothing harsh, no off notes on that. That is just a darn good honey barrel bourbon. Yeah. That charry kind of wood sugars going on. Get some nice, I love that brown sugar. It's getting close to like the topping, like almost like on a pie, where you're doing that crumble top on a pie. That's what it is. That's what it reminds me of. Like Dutch apple pie. So you get that kind of pastry and that little bit of crunchy top on there, but then you take a little bit of honey and spread that over the top of it as well. That's what it reminds me of. Like it's just really an easy drinking pour. For that age statement and that profile on that, that's damn good. And to be honest, you taking kind of a risk using a 9-year-old bourbon for finishing like that, it panned out. That panned out really good. Like that is just a crushable bourbon. It's sweet, it's oaky, it is classic brown sugar, oaky, charry, vanillas. But again, for me, I'm getting that kind of Dutch apple pie kind of vibe from things, because you are also getting a little bit of apple sweetness in there. And it all just plays together with that light bit of honey. Like I honestly am just, I'm a little surprised, because again, I've had some honey barrel finishes that go off the deep end, and they really showcased how to take that honey barrel finish just close enough without dominating. And it's just really darn good. Like I could probably sit here and crush the rest of that bottle. I don't want to do that because I want to savor this one, but you definitely could. Love that rye spiciness in there too. That spice characteristic from those grains. That's what you do. Alrighty, let's talk about a grade for this one. Boy, I have to say it's probably one of the best honey barrel finishes I've had so far. I've had 4 or 5 different ones. I've had some come close to this. A-. A-, I think. I think I'd be fine with giving out an A-. Like, you have an age statement. You're keeping it barrel proof. You're keeping it single barrel. You're using a rare X bourbon cask, which, again, we can't talk about. But you're using that honey barrel finishing just enough to really give a slight accent to things. And that, to me, is where this shines. It's more like a wisp of honey in that bourbon versus a honey barrel finished bourbon. And it's beautiful. Like, this is probably one of the prime examples. This spanks every other one I have on the shelf right now. Bravo on that sip. If you like honey barrel finishes, you need to give this one a try, because that one is going to really rock some worlds, I feel like. And again, if you're interested in learning more about Good Times, a link to their social media will be down in the description area below. Go show them some love. So yeah, there you have it, folks. Good old times, single barrel, barrel proof, straight bourbon whiskey, finished in X honey and X rare bourbon casks, 9 years old. If you have any questions about the bottle itself, let me know down in the comment section below. I will do my best to answer it. And if you have any specific bottles I should go looking for, also let me know down below. I love doing these reviews and sharing with you the experience at home. And as always, may your last drink of the night be the best one.
You know, and I really like it might not.